Here we are. I have the tires out of the bag. There's the wheels. Here's the silicone I'm actually going to be using on the wheels and beadlock rings. I'm very happy with the way these tires came out of the bag. They are much softer. Not just tacky. There is a little bit of added tackiness, but they are nice and soft now compared to when I actually took them off the wheels. Tracking showing that the foams should be here today. They're out for delivery, which took 2 days to get here. It's amazing, from Texas. So I'll be back with further progress. I just happened to be digging around in the garage and found my little scale. So real quick, this is the weight of the unweighted wheels, these gearhead slot mags, 2.2. Underneath I have the rings and 16 screws. Weighs right in at 6 1/8 ounces. And my other wheels I actually have 3 ounces. So we'll see 9 1/8. So you can see how heavy these wheels are. Now that I don't have the tires on them, you can see that they are solid. There's no relief cut on the inside of these wheels at all. It's a solid mag. It's a lot of weight. Therefore, I won't be running weight on the rears at all. These are actually the rears, and these are the fronts. Just thought I'd show you what those look like and how much they weigh. Alrighty, I've put the beads of silicone on the wheels and the beadlock rings. Very, very light bead. See, the back side is the same way. Just a very, very light bead. I want to be able to put the tires on without them slipping out. They're a pain to mount, but once they're mounted in the right wheel, they work excellent. So there is all that. Well, here they are. Crawler Innovations. I actually have one mounted up already in the tire. And just to show you the difference, well, here's the foam. Got some nice ribs in there. I've mounted one in a tire. Here's a regular Pitbull, Rock Beast 2. See how soft those are. And here is the tire with the foam in it. Oh, I am just so happy with that. My heavy rig is going to actually catch some better traction on the rocks, and probably a few less rolls when it's going a little bit quicker through some obstacles. Great, great, great. Very happy with these. Crawler Innovations. Alright, so I have 3 wheels and tires mounted. I'm going to go ahead and show mounting this one. Just a real quick demonstration. Fitting the foams inside these tires is not an easy task. You got to do some stretching to get the foams in the tires themselves. And the wheels fit nice and tight in the foam, so it's not going to slide around while you're trying to get it mounted up. So normally what I'll do is press my thumbs inside, you can see inside the bead, and try to get the edge of the foam even with the actual wheel. And then after that, you just match the bead up inside the groove. This side you can see the groove right there. You can also see I marked my wheels. This is a rear wheel, so I naturally mark them with the Sharpie. So you match up the bead, grab a bead lock, ring, oops, try another one. What I'll do after that is just match up the screw holes. And it should fit right inside this little ring. of the tire itself. There we go. Press it down a little bit, get it fit. What I usually do after that is I will take the bit out of my driver and simply put screws in. Now when I put the screws in, I'll start crosswise. So I'll start one there and then I'll skip to the one directly across. Now if you're having a problem getting them started, turn them backwards a little bit and then turn them forwards. Usually helps you get it going in the thread a little bit easier. I could credit a lot of people with that, but it took me a while of watching people doing stuff. And Bob Long at Bob Long Technologies actually did a video for one of his markers, and I've actually picked up on it there. So when you start the thread, turn it backwards a little bit, you'll feel it kind of click into place, and then thread it on in. And after that, we just continue putting in screws. You don't want to get them down too far. You just want to get it down to where they start some resistance on the beadlock ring itself. The reason being, if you take it down too far, one side of the beadlock, or excuse me, one side of the tire bead may pop out from between the beadlock ring and the wheel itself. Especially with these nice, soft, thin side-walled pit bull tires. Like I showed before, I put a little dab of high temp, can't remember what I did with it, high temp silicone, RTV right there. You can see the little bit I've put on, and I've also put it on the rings. So after that, what I do is I will go start one, tightening one here, skip 2 screws, tighten one there, skip 2 screws. And I'll just keep skipping 2, and eventually I'll have gone all the way around on every screw and gotten them a little bit of torque against the beadlock and the wheel itself. Now what I'll start doing is putting some pressure on the beadlock ring itself with my thumb. Press it down just a little bit. Give it a little bit of a turn with the bit itself. The reason why I'm using just this long bit is because without the handle, it doesn't put too much torque on the screw. Still don't want too much torque at this point, because doing that may pop the bead out of between the wheel and the beadlock. If you can see, I don't know if you can see the actual, you can see the little bit of a gap right there. It's actually getting smaller and smaller as I go around. So now that I've gotten tension on all of them, I'll go back and put the handle on my bit and do the same thing. Give it a couple turns just till it gets resistance. Just until it gets resistance. And by the time I get all the way around, the gap should be that much smaller. Almost there. Now it's to the point where they're pretty much all torqued down to that previous resistance that I was putting on it. So now I'll just go around, give every single screw a slight turn if it'll take it. Just applying a little bit more torque to the handle itself on the bit tool. See, those ones are stopping, 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 stopping. You don't want to put too much on, because again, you put too much on, and if the bead on the tire is just a little bit cockeyed, it may come right out between the wheel and tire. I'm guessing it's probably between 5 and 8 foot-pounds. If you've ever done spark plugs on a internal combustion engine, about 15 foot-pounds is where you torque down a spark plug, and that's about kind of hand tight. This is about half hand tight. Remember, the rubber wheel, the rubber tire, is being smashed in between this beadlock ring and the wheel itself, so it's going to offer a little bit more resistance and grab. So there it is. Alright, we have everything mounted. I'm very impressed with the way they came out. I'll show you. There's little to no squat in these foams, which is going to benefit this truck greatly. I've had a lot of rollovers due to the softer foams I had on there. These are the previous foams. Dual stage crawler Innovations foams. Actually, these ones had the closed cell in the middle, a soft outer and a medium portion on the outside. They did actually work really good when I had them on the Wraith chassis, but they're just too light, too soft for this truck. These are the crawler Innovations, single stage Deuces Wild.